What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we're obviously going to be talking about the new gun from Smith & Wesson. This is the new Smith & Wesson 1854, Smith & Wesson's first lever gun in 150 years. I really was excited about this when I heard about it, and we did get this from Smith & Wesson. The video is sponsored by Smith, but that will not change my opinion. You guys are well aware of that. They asked me if I wanted it, and I said yes, because A, I'm a big fan of lever action rifles, B, I really like the feature set on this gun, and I like the price too, especially compared to a lot of lever actions on the market, which we'll get to here in a minute. Now before we get into the video, I do want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. We try to make content for you and not the industry, and sometimes the industry doesn't like that, so we really appreciate you supporting the channel. If you find our information valuable, all you gotta do is go to the link in the description and sign up. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS, it's a local youth shelter, so I'd really appreciate it if you would go down and donate to those kids. And finally, once again, thank you for Smith & Wesson for sending this gun, because it is a little bit sketchy sending me guns because I don't do commercials, I do real reviews. Now, in 1854, Smith & Wesson patented their first lever action gun, the Volcanic lever action. I know some of you guys have heard of it. It was actually the original Red Dead Redemption, if you've played that game. That obviously inspired the naming of this rifle. This rifle is, however, a 20-inch rifle, and it does have a 9+1 capacity of 44 Magnum, but it'll also run 44 Special. Now, one of the interesting parts about the gun is the feature set. As I mentioned earlier, it does come with pretty much everything you need to have a successful lever action rifle in modern day. Now, it's got a polymer stock, rubber butt pad, really good lever, enlarged loop, flat face trigger, which you rarely see on lever guns. Optics rail comes ready out of the factory, 44 mag, 9+1, and you can put a weapon light and a dot on it. I've had quite a few modern lever action rifles and a lot more regular old school lever action rifles. I have a Henry 1860, which is kind of the original great lever action rifle. That's actually during the Civil War. I have a Winchester 1873, I have a 94, I have Marlins, I have Rossies, I have every brand of lever action rifle but Smith & Wesson. Now, one of the things I really like about the gun starting off is going to be the coating. The weather resistant coating is really nice. We have M-LOK mounts right here in case you want to use it for home defense, and in a lot of states these days you're literally unable to get anything else, so a lot of people have to use a lever action rifle for home defense. With a lever action rifle you can make sure the round goes exactly where you want it to, and it still packs enough punch and enough capability to be used in a modern day self-defense situation. Now, 44 Magnum is more than enough power to do almost anything you want with it, so I think it's a pretty good choice for a first caliber for them to come out with. There's actually two furniture sets, although I went with the all-weather because I live in Iowa and we have all weather. And as a matter of fact, we actually tested this exclusively in 20 below zero. It actually hasn't been above 20 below zero wind chill in Iowa for the last week. It's almost like it's 25 below out here. Who doesn't test guns at 25 below? Probably James Reeves. It's hard to wear shorts out here in this. Now, we've used 4 different types of ammunition, and so far, so good. We had 3 ammunition types that worked really well, and 1 not so much, and that was actually Cowboy 44 Special. The reason for that is because of the case length. Lever action rifles can run 2 different types of ammunition, just like revolvers. However, they are more sensitive to case length than revolvers. So if you have really short 44 Special and it's made for really long 44 Magnum, like your girlfriend, she doesn't like the 44 Special so much. Now, going back to the features, we do have a 9-round tube, all weathers, like I said. Up here, we have the classic Henry feeding tube system as well, so if you don't want to run it through the gate, you can run it through there. However, we didn't test that at all because it's really cold outside, and the side gate works great. We do have a threaded barrel, and we'll be running a can on this eventually when my can gets out of suppressor jail. We have some pretty cool sights. It comes with a classic gold bead, which I think is kind of cool because it's kind of a throwback to old school guns while still having this modern look. We do have a polymer handguard with M-LOK slots on either side, so if you want to put a light on it, you absolutely can, and for home defense, that's amazing. Identifying targets is imperative. So M-LOK slots on 3 sides without having a whole shitload of them, and your rail doesn't fall off, and it's not rickety like a lot of the rails you can buy in the market. It comes included, unlike the Henrys, with a rail right out of the factory. I don't have to buy it, I don't have to put it on, I don't have to guess what screws they are. The thing came on it right out of the box. Awesome, because optics are a thing, and optics do help you shoot accurately, faster, and at further distances, so it's good to have that. Now, they still do include the old school peep sights. That's awesome. I have an 1873, and it has the buckhorn sights, which are okay, but these peep sights are significantly better, and you can run them from a lot further distances. Now, one of the interesting features on the gun that I thought was unique is going to be the crossbolt safety. Sort of similar to a Remington 870, but it's actually on the hammer. So as you can see there, when the gun is cocked back, if I put the safety on, it obviously doesn't work because that's what a safety does. And if you pop it forward, it no longer is blocking the hammer, so bang switch works. Now let's look a little closer at the bang switch here, and you can see that we do have a flat face serrated trigger, which is fucking awesome. The trigger on this is really good. I was really impressed. We do have a large loop lever here, and if you're familiar with lever action rifles, this is just a little bit bigger than the Henry X model, but a little bit smaller than some of the very large loop custom loops that you can get, like the Rifleman would use. You can still flip it round and round, although with a 20-inch barrel, you might hit yourself in the face, so be aware of that. Hammer is really good. As you can see, we have a straight pull hammer because hammers are something you do need to actuate on a lever action rifle. A lot of times you take it off safety or you take it out of action, and you need to have a good grip on it for it to work well. So if I pull the trigger and let it down slow and you don't want the gun to fire, you want to have a good grip on it, so that works great. The texturing on the forend and the stock worked great. I was able to hold on to it really easy, even in obviously very snowy conditions if you're looking at the shooting footage, and that works well. The rubber butt pad is a rubber butt pad, and one of the cons of the rubber butt pad is that it does catch on your clothing if you're trying to mount the rifle quickly, which is why a lot of times when I'm using a gun for a hunting gun or something like that, I actually will take electrical tape or duct tape and I'll wrap it around the outside so it doesn't catch, and then you still have the rubber butt pad, but you don't have to worry about it catching on your clothing. And that's basically a thing with every single rubber butt pad you've ever used, so it's no different on the Smith. We do have classic sling swivels on the front and the rear, so that's pretty neat. Now obviously we're going to talk about the interface with the gun first, and if you talk about a lever action rifle, you're going to be loading it through the loading gate, and you're going to be levering the gun every single time that you run the round. So you don't have a magazine in this, you have a magazine tube, and the way you get the rounds in the tube is you put all 9 of them through the loading gate here. So the interface with that on a lever action is very, very important. A lot of times if you get some cheap guns like a Rossi, for example, this would be an absolute nightmare to load, whereas the Smith was pretty good right out of the box, I have to admit. Especially for 44, it's a pretty big round, and they went in there relatively well after maybe the first 50 rounds or so. Obviously you need a little break-in with guns like this. All manually operated guns, bolt action rifles, pump action shotguns are going to work better with time, which is good because you shoot it more, it gets better, it's a win-win. Now, I don't know, because again, this was sent to me, whether this is a cherry-picked model or not, but the lever on this is super freaking smooth. And I was really surprised how smooth it was out of the factory. And I wonder if that's due to just better machining. A lot of times with lever action rifles, you need to run them a lot to get this slick of an action, or you need to send them to somebody to get them slicked up, which is a lot of what the cowboy action shooters do. Whereas this is really quick right out of the box. I mean, it's really fast, it's really easy to run. Now, one of the downsides to the large loop, the big advantage to the large loop is you can get your big ass hand in there, and you can get it in there with gloves. The downside is when you do run it, you are gonna smack your knuckles a little bit, so be prepared for that. There are techniques to deal with that, and also you can get like paracord covers and rubber coating, or you can just wear gloves. I think the 20-inch barrel is a good mix of hunting and home defense, because lever guns usually don't work super well short. And the reason why is even though you can go down to 16 inches on a lever action rifle, the more you limit the barrel, the more you limit the capacity, and 9 + 1, 10 rounds is a great capacity for me, and that's usually why most lever action rifles you do find in the 20-inch range. So I think that's a good range for them to come out with. I also really like the 44 Magnum in a lever action because 44 Magnum packs quite a punch out of a 20-inch barrel, and you can take down most things in North America with it without having any issues. And if you want to shoot lighter loads, you can find Cowboy Action 44 Special. They're going to be a little bit more costly than something like a 38 Special, but they do work well. Now the weight of the gun actually isn't too bad either, considering you're basically dealing with an all steel rifle, and I think primarily because they used polymer features on this. You have a polymer forend and a polymer stock. It does lighten the load a little bit. So if you want this to like be a wall hanger, I'd probably go with the wood version because obviously wood looks better. However, this is going to be more useful in a hunting or outdoorsman type situation. Obviously I can't hunt with this out in Iowa because it's not a straight wall cartridge. However, you can hunt with this in many states, and 44 mag does make a great hunting round, and it makes a good self-defense round, and I like the fact that it's completely waterproof and it's not going to rust, and I'm not going to break the wood or anything like that. So lighter weight and tougher works for me. I think where it really shines in the accuracy department is the ability to add an optic, because adding an optic to anything given at one point of aim is great. So getting a lever action rifle with a Picatinny rail on top is going to increase your accuracy a little bit, and then on top of that it's got a really nice single action flat face trigger, and it's sort of like shooting a 1911 trigger in a lever action rifle, which is really cool. Now I think for the feature set of the rifle, the price is good. Coming in at around $1,200 is a really good buy in my opinion, especially compared to its competition. If you look at the Henry Big Boy X in 44 Magnum, I think they're going for about $1,500 or $1,600. So you get to save $300 or $400. Overall, my experience shooting the gun was pretty pleasurable. And because I've had some bad luck with lever action rifles in the past, I was really excited to get this, and I had a lot of high expectation for this because Smith & Wesson usually puts out good products. We've done several reviews for their releases now, and almost all of them worked aside for one. So I was really excited for this, and it actually paid off. Thank God. We're gonna put a shitload more rounds for this, and this absolutely isn't a recommendation yet, but it's a really good start. So I think we're gonna do a full 1,000 round review of this. It's gonna take a while, but I know a guy, what's his name? Pewview. He's like one of the best lever action shooters in the world, basically. And he's my buddy, and he lives 30 minutes away. So when he gets back from SHOT Show, I didn't go because my ear, but when he gets back, we're gonna beat the absolute crap out of this. We're gonna do a torture test with this, and we're gonna do some comparisons with some of the modern and old school lever action rifles on the market. So if you'd like to see that, please like and subscribe. Please support your Oklahoma shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.